It's always great to see the Hall of Fame inductees. It's just very impressive year in, year out, just the amount of baseball experience these gentlemen have. It's humbling, to say the least. So our first inductee is Coach Larry Prange. Coach Prange began his coaching career as a JV assistant coach at DeMatha Catholic High School in 1988 under the stewardship of the MSABC Hall of Famer Charlie Sullivan. In 1990, he was promoted to varsity assistant coach. In his 26 years coaching in the WCAC varsity, he was an assistant or head coach of teams that went to 13 WCAC championship games, winning 10 WCAC championships. In 2006, he was selected MSABC Assistant Coach of the Year. In addition to coaching at DeMatha, Coach Prange coached Oxon Hill, Maryland American Legion, and Greenbelt, Maryland American Legion. Again, at Greenbelt, he coached the team to 6 league titles, a state championship, and 2 state second-place finishes. In 2007, he also led his team to a Mid-Atlantic National Amateur Baseball Federation World Series. In 2007, Coach Prange was selected as the head coach at Bishop and McNamara High School. In his 7 years at McNamara, his teams broke school records, beat top-ranked teams for the first time in school history, and made the WCAC Conference Championship game in consecutive years. In 2010, he was selected as WCAC Coach of the Year. In 2012, he was selected MSABC Private School Coach of the Year. In 2014, Coach Prange began coaching 18U Prime with the elite travel team, the Marini Stars, winning multiple tournaments, culminating in a 2015 berth to the World Wood Bat Association World Championship in Jupiter, Florida. I'd like to give the podium to Coach Larry Prange and his Hall of Fame speech.
This is pretty funny. I am truly honored and grateful to be selected to the MSABC Hall of Fame. I've always believed that the Hall of Fame was reserved for the best of the best. To be included in this distinguished group humbles me. In reflecting on my coaching career, what I realized is if it were not for these 5 things, I would not be in front of you today. MSABC Hall of Famer Charlie Sullivan. I learned early how a good coach could affect a player. I lost my father when I was in the 2nd grade, but Charlie Sullivan, my high school coach, became my role model, coach, and sometimes father figure. I didn't know the lifelong effect that he would have on me while I was in high school, but as I got older, I realized how deeply he impacted my life and my coaching style. You see, I got my PhD in coaching from the University of Charlie Sullivan. After high school, Sully asked me to be an assistant coach on his DeMatha High School JV team. He promoted me to assistant coach of the varsity team where I could learn firsthand from him. Charlie Sullivan was the best coach around in running a program, running practices, running games, and getting a team to play at their best at playoff time. If my life depended on winning 1 game, I would choose Charlie Sullivan to coach that game. I've been able to call Sully a lot of things in my life. My coach, my mentor, my role model, but the best thing I call him is my friend. Coaches, ones I've coached with and against, and those who coached for me. Coaches I've coached with: Leroy Rogers, Gordon Libby, Vince Curley, Dinks Lloyd, and Hall of Famer Bumps Vaughn. Hall of Famers I've coached against: Terry Terrell, Dan DeVitas, and so many more. One I'd like to specifically mention is Hall of Famer Ed Glazier. I always looked forward to coaching against Ed Glazier because I learned so much watching him manage a team and run a game. Every time I left a game, win or lose, I was smarter for having observed his coaching. I really looked forward to all my games against him. Coaches who have coached for me: Jerry Truman, who was with me from day one. Ed Smith Ed Smith, who provided skill, knowledge, and most importantly, fun. Jerry and Ed loved being around the kids and gave so much of their time and knowledge. Vic Capice, who has so much energy and baseball knowledge and is still throwing batting practice at 70 years old. Vic is one of the smartest men I've ever met. Then there is McNamara Baseball, my coaches. Tom Ballinger, Mike Higginbotham, Trey Evans, Joe Savarino. We took over a failing program. We had to teach the players basic baseball, and in the end, took them to 2 conference championship series. These guys worked all year long for very little pay and sacrificed their time, even with family, to not only develop kids, but to develop a program who no one ever believed would be a contender. Tom Ballinger, it would not surprise me if in 20 years you are here accepting this award too. Even today, every time I go to a ballpark, whether it's for practice or a game, I continue to learn from coaches like Carson Carroll of Team Meridian Stars and Mark Gibbs from St. John's High School, who have excellent programs of their own in Virginia and D.C. All of these coaches and so many more I was fortunate enough to observe, talk to, and learn from. Friends and parents. Friends were so important to make my program successful. I could ask them for anything, their time, their money. They knew most likely they would have to pay for tickets and work the events, and they happily did. Joe Heiss, a former high school teammate and friend. I enjoy bouncing ideas off you and brainstorming games. Your friendship has been invaluable to me. Marie Gates. There was nothing better than turning around at a State American League Championship game that Sunday, looking up in the stands and seeing my mom, knowing that at 80 years old, she could not have driven there herself. When I was playing, she never missed a game that I played in. I can never express adequately to you, Marie, how much it meant to me to be able to look in the stands to see my mom with you. You knew how important it would be to me and to her, and it was. Amy Lozapone, who will hop in a car or a plane with me and watch kids she didn't even know who their names were or who were playing. There is no better way to start and end my day than telling you, Amy, that I love you. Parents. I always had great support from parents. They not only rooted on their own kids, they rooted for the team. They never questioned Mother's Day tryouts, 7 a.m. tournament games, and group therapy in Tennessee. Parents I'd like to mention are Kathy Campbell, who is team statistician and team trainer and so loyal to DeMatha and Greenbelt American Legion teams. She gave thousands of hours for absolutely no pay. She supported me every step of the way. Rick Jowers, who I believe has videotaped 4 years of my life. He kept everyone informed with his webpage before baseball web pages were in, and for parents who are not at games, before Game Changer was a must. And he is one of the nicest men you will ever meet. And finally, Tim Ballinger and Leonard Ballinger, who were there every day driving the bus to games, drying wet fields for games, making a field dragger and dragging it when parking planning driving all night, when parking planning did, fixing mowers, driving all night to get equipment to tournaments, and being there for every game, home or away. They made my field of dreams. Work, Charlie Farrar. I worked with Charlie Farrar for 35 years. He always encouraged me to coach and never questioned the reason for me leaving early to get to a practice or a game. He gave me all the time I needed to coach tournaments across the country and got me the interview at McNamara High School for the head coaching job. If it was not for his flexibility and encouragement, I would not have been able to coach. And finally, the players, the main reason I am here today. I was blessed to coach great baseball players. who didn't just take care of baseball. They took care of school and responsibilities. They made sacrifices when their friends were going to the beach. When their friends were going to the beach, they were going to baseball games. On party nights, they skipped them because they had a game the next day. To be successful, you have to make sacrifices, and these kids always did. I'm so proud of these kids, not only for the baseball players they were, but for the hardworking, family-oriented players, people they have become. Life is made up of moments. What we choose to do and not do in each of these moments dictates who we become and what our lives are like. People in those moments also affect our lives. So many kids have provided these moments for me. Matt Swope, 4 home runs in a game. Matt Capice, smartest baseball player I've ever been around. He made me look great. Johnny Lappin scoring the winning run in the 18th inning of an American Legion State Championship, and then the players handing the trophy to Dinks Laurie. Nick Jowers, a walk-on at the University of Maryland, who ended up a scholarship athlete. Brett Cecil striking out the one batter in his Major League Baseball All-Star game. Patrick Prada, a graduate of the Naval Academy and now serving and protecting our country as an officer in the United States. Alex Clore. We butted heads the whole time I coached at McNamara. You see, Alex had a difficult home life. A few years after he graduated, I saw him at a baseball game with his young son, and he asked, "Will you be around in 14 years? Because I want you to coach my son." Kevin Kelleher, who came to McNamara baseball not knowing how to throw a ball. In his senior year, he threw a BB to home plate to stop a run, helping us to advance to the championship game. Taylor Stiles, Connor Hacks, and Corey Fields, so determined to get back to a second McNamara championship series, proving the first one wasn't a fluke. Jake Agnos, a pitcher, pitching against a kid who is expected to be a first-round draft pick and refusing to lose to it. And Kevin Heiss, playing his tail off at an Atlantic 10 tournament for the University of Rhode Island with an injury and having lost his brother less than a month before. I love coaching. I love everything about coaching. I love throwing batting practice. I love hitting fungos. I love watching a team progress and realizing that we have a shot. I love the strategy of coaching against the Ed Glazers of the world. And I love the thought that I may have helped one kid 10% as much as Charlie Sullivan helped me. And if so, then this is the most rewarding thing I've done in my life. I've coached a lot of games across the country. I've seen a lot of good players. And I know that a coach could take the kids in this room and you would work hard, you would be successful, and the team could compete with the best of them. Good luck to this year. Go make some moments for yourself and your coaches. And thank you, MSABC, for this incredible honor.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee